You know, there are many legends of Andre the Giant, and there's too many to recount in a short podcast. But today we're going to look at different, what he calls stories and tall tales and different stuff. Now, the tale I have to tell, allegedly he was in Batters one year for a wrestling card, and he was drinking a stubby of Alpine, which is very popular beer at the time, and literally the bottle was the size of his thumb. Go figure. So today we're going to be looking at some of the true stories and some of the tall tales. Now, according to published reports, he was mentioned in the 1974 Guinness Book of World Records as the then highest paid wrestler in history. According to the publication, he earned an annual salary of $400,000, equivalent to $2.37 million in 2023 dollars. Now, Robin Christensen is Roussimoff's only child. Her mother, Jean, who died in 2008, became acquainted with her father through the wrestling business around 72 or 73. Christensen had almost no connection with her father and saw him only 5 times in her life, despite occasional televised and printed news pieces criticizing his absentee fatherhood. While she gave some interviews about the subject in her childhood, Christensen is reportedly reluctant to discuss her father publicly today. Now, Roussimoff has been unofficially crowned the greatest drunk on earth for once consuming 119 12 U.S. fluid ounces of beers in total, over 41 liters in 6 hours. On the David Letterman show on January 23rd, 1984, Roussimoff told David Letterman he drank 117 beers. While when Letterman asked if he was drunk, Roussimoff said he couldn't remember because he passed out. He also said he quit drinking beer 14 months prior to his appearance on Letterman. Now, in an episode of WWE's Legends of Wrestling, Mike Graham said Roussimoff once drank 156 U.S. fluid ounce beers over 73 liters in one sitting, which was confirmed by the American Dream Dusty Rhodes. Now, the Fabulous Moolah wrote in her autobiography that Roussimoff drank 127 beers at the bar of the Abraham Lincoln Hotel in Reading, Pennsylvania, and later passed out in the lobby. The staff could not move him and had to leave him there until he awoke. Now, in a shoot interview, former champion Ken Patera recalled the occasion where Roussimoff was challenged by Dirty Dick Murdoch to a beer drinking contest. After 9 or so hours, Roussimoff had drunk 116 beers. A tale recounted by actor Cary Elwes in his book about Making the Princess Bride has Roussimoff falling atop of somebody while drunk, after which the NYPD sent an undercover officer to follow Roussimoff around whenever he went out drinking in her city to make sure he did not fall on anyone again. Another story also says prior to his famous WrestleMania 3 match, Roussimoff drank 14 bottles of port wine. Now, an urban legend does exist surrounding Roussimoff's 87 surgery, which he says made it impossible for the anesthesiologist to estimate a dosage of higher standard methods. Consequently, his alcohol tolerance was used as a guideline instead. Now, in William Goldman, the author of the novel and screenplay of The Princess Bride, said in his nonfiction work, Which Lie Did I Tell?, that Roussimoff was one of the greatest and most generous people he ever knew. Whenever Roussimoff ate with someone in a restaurant, he would pay, but he would also insist on paying when he was a guest. On one occasion, after Roussimoff attended a dinner with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Will Chamberlain, Schwarzenegger had quietly moved to the cashier to pay before Roussimoff could, but then found himself being physically lifted, carrying from his table and deposited on top of his car by Roussimoff and Chamberlain. Now, here's it goes. He did own a very beautiful ranch in Ellerbe, North Carolina, looked after by 2 of his close friends. When he was not on the road, he loved spending time at the ranch, where he tended to his cattle, played with his dogs, and entertained friends. While there was custom-made chairs and a few other modifications in his home to accommodate his size, tales that everything in his home were custom-made for a large man are said to be exaggerated. Since Roussimoff could not easily go shopping due to his fame and size, he was known to spend hours watching QVC and made frequent purchases from the shopping channel. Now, my good friend Killer Carl Krupp told me once that in his match with Andre, I think it was Andre's either 1,000 or 2,000 victory, he told Killer Carl Krupp, he said, I'll take care of you, boss. We really miss Andre because no matter where Andre went, it was a story and it was a sensation, like Vince McMahon said. But he didn't have to hold a title. Now, the stories I'm telling you, again, could be exaggerated. But if you have an Andre the Giant story, please post it here. We're really missing because in 2023, Andre would love how wrestling has made a comeback in the last few years. Thanks for listening. Bye.